Now that we've completed working on the title text area, I'm going to go back to the Object Manager and close up the title text layer, and I'm actually going to lock that layer. I'm now going to select the body text layer and we're going to go back to work in that layer. I'm now going to come up to Window and Dockers, and I'm going to open the Object Styles Docker. Object Styles are a brand new, very powerful addition to CorelDRAW X6. To learn more in depth about Object Styles, please watch the video working with Object Styles. Well, for right now, I'm going to create a style set. Effectively, a style is a group of closely related properties that can be specified together, and we're about to create a style set. Now, the way I do that is I can select the object, or in this case text, and all of the properties about that I'm about to group together into a style set. It's really easy to do. Right click, come up to Object Styles and select New Style Set From. Or another way to do that is to click the plus, and that automatically will create a new style set. Click once to rename, and I'm going to call that White Text Block. And then all I have to do is right click and choose Copy Properties From, click on that particular text block, and all of the properties about that text block become part of this style set, including the font, the point size, the color, the outline, any open type features, all of my line spacing, character spacing, and so forth. What this means is that as I move forth in my design process, particularly over multiple pages, as I'm about to do, I'm just going to select this text frame we haven't used, then right click, insert placeholder text, and then all I have to do is select the style set that I want, click Apply to Selected, and automatically all of those parameters, the typeface, the point size, and so forth, are applied to that particular block of text. Well, I'm going to right click and remove the black outline of the rectangle, then double click and select some text and remove it. Because of the red dotted text frame, I know there's too much text in there, and I only want a single line anyway. F4 on my keyboard, zoom back out. And just to highlight the power of this a little more to you, I'm going to simply select all of these text frames here and click Apply to Selected. Now imagine you had a multi-page document that had many different forms of text frames, blocks of text, etc. For every one of those, you could have a style set. And when you want to make a change, you simply select that style set, come down to the Properties area, and for example, if I were to change this to yellow, all of my text in the body text would change to yellow. Or of course I could change point size or to a different font, etc. So that's the power of style sets. I really do recommend that you experiment. We're going to go to work now and add just a few more elements in the middle of the design here. So I'm going to come back over to the Object Manager, and I'll just collapse each of the layers because I want you to see what it is that we've been doing. We've been working on the body text layer, and in fact I'm going to lock that layer so that we can't accidentally edit that anymore. And if I turn off the display of that layer, the background, and the title, we can rebuild the project from the beginning. We have our image that we brought in as a background to the page, and then we'll turn on the background where we added the frame and the pink overlay, and then we added the body text, and then of course the title text. Well, by locking everything out, we can't make any mistakes and accidentally move anything around. What I want to do now is add some elements to the background. So I'm going to unlock the background, select that layer, and we're going to go to work adding a few extra elements just in here. In fact, the first thing I'm going to do is expand the tray, and we'll zoom in nice and tight to this area here. And what I'm going to do is drag and drop these three logos that we placed earlier onto the tray. So the first color, blue, and then yellow, and then the green color. Now just approximately place them where I want. And then I'm going to turn on alignment guides. I want to align this blue logo with the black text there. So I'll just pop that there like that. That looks good. As far as the rest goes, I'll do that another way by selecting all three, and then up here on the property bar, selecting Align and Distribute. I'm going to choose Center, and this will center align them, and it's a great way of aligning and distributing together. Then Distribute, and choose Spacing. Effectively, if extent of selection is turned on, it means that between the extent of the objects selected, every object will be perfectly spaced. So all we have to do is click apply, and look at that, we've got perfect alignment and spacing. Well, I'm going to collapse the tray and F4 on my keyboard, and that looks really good. In fact, we're going to add just a couple more objects in the center here. So again, we'll zoom in a little tighter just to this area here. So for these objects, I need to come over and select the ellipse tool and create 3 ellipses. I don't need alignment guides anymore. Finger on Control, spacebar to go back to the pick tool, plus on my keyboard for a duplicate, and then I'll just shrink it down a little, plus on my keyboard again, and I'll shrink that one down a little bit more. I'm going to fill the first one with magenta, which is 100% M. So click. And then the second one, I'm going to fill with a color that I know will go well with magenta. So the way I'm going to do that is hold down my left mouse button on the magenta color, and that brings out the extended color palette. Magenta is the center color, and then all of these other colors, if you like, are slightly moving off in a given direction from the center point of magenta. A little bit more red, a little bit more blue, and so forth. So this next one, I'm going to make more of a purple color. And the last one, again, hold my left mouse button down, and I'm going to go with a little bit more of a redder color. Select all 3, and then I'm going to right click to remove the outline, and then we'll just place them in varying locations. Now remember, it will sit beneath the text because we have our background layer selected, which is beneath the body text layer. I'll just place that one there and that one over there. I'm going to select all 3 by holding my finger on Shift, then come down to the transparency tool, and then from the property bar, I'm going to choose Uniform. Okay, F4 on my keyboard, zoom back out, and I want to group these 3 together, so I'm going to click the group icon, then up to Tools, down to Color Styles, and I'm going to open the Color Styles Docker. We're going to go ahead now and generate a couple of color harmonies. The way we do that, I'll just zoom in first, is by dragging objects that contain the colors we want to work with onto this grey area here. So I'm going to select these 3 logos, and in fact we'll group them together. Finger on Shift and select the white border as well. So I'm going to drag the 3 logos and this white border onto this area here where it says Generate a Harmony. By default, CorelDRAW has gone ahead and decided there's 3 potential color harmony groups that we could have here. However, I really only want one. So I'm going to slide the slider to the left. Object Fill is selected because none of these objects actually have an outline. If I were to select both Fill and Outline, again, we have those same options available to us. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. I also want to generate a harmony using these 3 colors here. So I'm going to do the same thing. Drag and drop. We have one color harmony group that CorelDRAW has determined this time. I'm simply going to click OK. And this is where it becomes really interesting. So what I'm going to do is select the first harmony folder. When you select a folder, automatically the harmony editor opens up. Each of these little rings we call a selector ring, and they represent one of the 4 colors in this case that exist inside of that folder, which of course represent our frame and the 3 logos that we have here. If I click on any selector ring and begin to move around the color wheel, you can see that the colors change. When I let go, they update on screen. The color in the middle there, while it sits in the middle, is white. But if I select it and move it out, you can see that it's the frame. So what I might do in this particular case is I'll just leave that to the side, deselect, and then rotate through a number of color possibilities, and when I'm happy, eventually select that one on its own and pop it back in the center so that my frame is white. The basic concept of the harmony editor is to give you the ability to rotate through colors, maintaining the same relationship between each of the colors as we had when we started, but of course in different areas of color. And options that you never would have considered automatically can come from nowhere. And actually that doesn't look too bad. If I select these objects here, it doesn't make any difference. It's about selecting the harmony folder itself. So when I select the Harmony folder, the colours that are represented here are now represented in this folder. So as I rotate, you can see I can begin to change these colours, maintaining that same relationship of colour. And I'll end up with a possibility I may never have considered in the first place. And that looks really great. Well, the advantage of working with colour styles is obviously that you can find blends and colour options you would never normally consider. I'm going to F4 zoom back out and just demonstrate one last possibility to you that I think is quite powerful. What I'm going to do is select each of these and delete. And then I'm going to go ahead and select everything, Control A, and drag and drop onto the Harmony area. And I'm going to create a single colour harmony, click OK, select, and I just want you to watch the possibilities as I rotate through this, and the brochure takes on an amazing array of possibility, or if you like, colour options and mixes you may never have actually considered or thought of. Isn't that truly amazing what you can do? Well, I did like my original, so I'm going to Control Z all the way back to there, and that's the advantage of undoing. So I'm just multiply undoing, and that's our final result.